The Amarillo Wranglers back at home at the Budweiser bullpen. After a stretch of 7 straight games on the road, they conclude it with a huge win in Oklahoma City and now have an opportunity to build a bit of a win streak with 8 games remaining in the regular season. The Wranglers are looking to take advantage as they welcome in the Corpus Christi Ice Rays. It's the first of 4 straight between the Amarillo Wranglers and the Ice Rays. 2 games here at the Budweiser bullpen, and next weekend these 2 teams will be meeting out on the beach. They'll be playing at the American Bank Center, a Thursday morning game and a Friday night game. So this is the first of 4 straight between these 2 teams, and the Wranglers do it in a big fashion with a big 6-2 win over the Oklahoma Warriors, the top team in the North American Hockey League. A 6-2 victory Saturday night, where the Wranglers, you saw the Warriors start to get frustrated Friday night, where Amarillo was up by a couple of goals. Of course, the Warriors ending up taking over a short-handed Wranglers roster and ending up getting a couple of goals late for that 6-4 win. But really all throughout that game Saturday night, Wranglers kind of dictated pace, and we saw a Warriors team get very frustrated, and something that we hadn't seen from a Warriors team all season long. Of course, top of the North American Hockey League, but the Wranglers got under the skin of Oklahoma and came away with a 6-2 win. Let's take a look at those highlights. What a big win that was Saturday night for your Amarillo Wranglers. Goal got the glass up to the point. Dyer, the redirection right in front is saved by McDonough. Puck still loose in the crease. Swept out by Kent right up to the corner. Here's a centering feed right in front, and a nice poke check by McDonough, denying Nelson, who is all alone and on the Wranglers goaltender. But McDonough, the active goal stick, able to poke check it aside without her centering feed, and off of the mark is it's right to the stick of Cooper Rice. Rice has Walsh with him in on side, letting one go. He scores! Ronan Walsh, as it deflects off the bottom of the glove of Daniel Duras, and the Wranglers are off and running. McDonald with them. Now looking for Jack Ivey in the slot. Patterson picks it up. Patterson walking in. Back down low for Ivey off the post. It's in! They score! Jack Ivey off the iron and in, and the Wranglers have tied the game. Swiped up toward the point. Control by Simonovic, who finds Pierce Patterson as they play catch. Simonovic from the point deflects, they score! Simonovic let it go, it went off a Warrior, it's a power play goal, and the Wranglers reclaim their lead, it's 3-2. There's another one as they can land consecutive punches. Barker continuing to go, he's got a couple of right hands in as Dyer goes down. So it was a big hit on Ronan Walsh into the period. Moved back along. Morris, now Kent from the slot. He scores! Zach Kent off of the post and in. A turnover in the Warriors' end. And the Wranglers take a 4-2 lead. Look, he's got in the slot. Drops it off Patterson. Face-off circle. Lets one go. One off the rebound. They score off of the post. McNaughton picks it up. And the Wranglers have a 5-2 lead. Zach Kent with it. Side of the cage. He scores! Zach Kent, the wraparound off the far side post. And the Wranglers have notched 6 goals on Oklahoma. To the ice, Connor McDonough will get his first as a Wrangler. What a showing for the Wranglers. 6-2, the final tonight. So as you see, that was a big win. Nick Lopius with you here from the Budweiser bullpen. And as you heard there at the tail end of that little highlights montage, well, no one benefited more from an offensive explosion than the Wranglers goaltender, Connor McDonough, who picked up his first win as an Amarillo Wrangler against the top team in the North American Hockey League. So Connor McDonough, his first win as an Amarillo Wrangler. Saturday night, he faces 22 shots against the best offense in the North American Hockey League. He stops 20 of them en route to his first win as a Wrangler. He'll get the start tonight for Amarillo as they welcome in those Corpus Christi Ice Rays. So a big congratulations, a shout out to Connor McDonough, his friends and family on that accomplishment. His first one as a Wrangler, and wow, to do it against the top team and the top offense in the North American Hockey League, that is quite a feat for the young netminder. So we're back here inside the Dennis J. Puska broadcast post here at the Budweiser bullpen. So the Wranglers, a big win, of course, Saturday night, where they accumulate 6 points on that 7-game road trip with a couple of big wins in El Paso, and then, of course, that big win in Oklahoma, where They had a tough stretch there in Shreveport where they kind of got pushed around, a couple of injuries. And then, of course, in Oklahoma, you had a short-handed team. No Roman Zapp, no Carter Clafton. A lot of teams still battling through the sniffles, and you factor that in with a very tough Oklahoma team. But the Wranglers held their own, especially Friday night, where that's where we started to see Oklahoma start to get frustrated a bit. And there is some words exchanged really one way. The Oklahoma bench pretty upset at the Amarillo bench, ending up in a fine over on that Oklahoma side. The head coach there for the Warriors getting a fine from the North American Hockey League. Also a couple of suspensions from a couple of those players for the Oklahoma Warriors. A couple of hits after the fact as we got our starting lineups here. Look at that. We got valet service here at the Budweiser bullpen. A big shout out to all of our off-ice officials here as they hand off those starting lines right there. But again, a very impressive win Saturday night where you put up 6 goals. That is the second most goals that the Warriors have allowed this season. First most was a loss against the New Mexico Ice Wolves where they surrendered 7. So the Amarillo offense really able to do a number on the one of the best goaltenders, Daniel Duras, in the North American Hockey League. He was chased after surrendering 4 goals in 2 periods. So the Wranglers offense hoping to keep that momentum going and try to go on a nice little win streak here now with 8 games remaining in the regular season. And, well, at least these next 4, it's in the favor of the Wranglers. We take a look at this remaining schedule. 4 straight, of course, against Corpus Christi, 2 here at home, and then on the road in Corpus. And then the last home games here for Amarillo, that's going to be against Lone Star. That's going to be a big matchup. And then who knows, that last weekend is Odessa 2 points behind Amarillo. That last weekend of the regular season, Wranglers on the road to take on those Odessa Jackalopes. That could very well decide who gets that 4th and final playoff spot. Of course, New Mexico in the lead as we take a look at those South Division standings. And Oklahoma atop with 83 points on the year. They're best in the North American Hockey League. Lone Star trailing behind them by 12 points with 32 wins on the year. Shreveport in third. They've built a sizable lead as the Mudbucks have been going on a phenomenal run in their last 10 games or so. New Mexico, with the split last weekend against Lone Star, they take on the Brahmas again this weekend. They've got 4 straight against Lone Star. So they got a split against the Brahmas last week, and now they will welcome in those Lone Star Brahmas to Albuquerque this weekend. So Wranglers hoping for a couple of wins by the Lone Star Brahmas and hopefully a couple of wins here against the Ice Rays as the Wranglers try to close that gap. They're 8 points behind New Mexico for that final spot. 8 games, of course, remaining. Wranglers can get up to 16 points maximum if they win out these last 8 games. But Odessa is right on their tail, and the Jackalopes got to be kicking themselves as when the Wranglers went on that 4-game losing skid, the Jackalopes went on a skid of their own, and they couldn't make up any ground. So they're still 2 points behind Amarillo in the standings. See the Rhinos and Ice Rays rounding things out here in the South Division. And so that's how the standings shake out. But again, the Wranglers with that remaining schedule have an opportunity to really do some damage, hoping for a couple of wins for those Lone Star Brahmas that take on the New Mexico Ice Wolves this weekend. We take a look again there at the warm-ups, rather, for these two teams. And, well, we got the starters handed to me just a second ago. You might have seen that on screen. So let's go ahead. Let's go through those starters for those Corpus Christi Ice Rays. They'll start with Nate Murray, Blake Lewis, and Cameron Crowley. On defense will be Simon Becker and Ryan Hintz. They'll get Lucas Molinot between the pipes tonight for the Ice Rays. Wranglers will start. Well, it's that successful line. The Abbey Twins, along with Jack McDonald, will get the start. On defense, Preston Brighton and Kyle DeMarco, Connor McDonough between the pipes for the Wranglers. As we take a look at some of those players to look out for, well, Roman Zapp, he's back in the lineup this weekend, and before missing that last series in Oklahoma with an illness, he was riding a bit of a hot streak as he's starting to find his groove, hopefully back to full strength. And, of course, Jack McDonald, well, he's been playing lights out since he's joined that line with the Ivy Twins. He's back with them again. And Preston Brighton, someone who's not always so flashy but so solid in his own end, and at times it has translated. Strong play in the Amarillo zone. And Preston Brighton has done a good job throughout the season of translating and getting a little bit of offense going this season. Preston Brighton with 7 goals on the year and 11 assists. He's got 18 total points, but that's a defenseman who he's not as flashy as, say, a Simonovic or a Pierce Patterson, but he is so solid in his own end. So be on the lookout for number 17, Preston Brighton in white. On the other side for the Ice Rays, they got a couple of guys who really feasted there in Odessa last weekend. Dylan Contreras, well, he will be out there. He's got a 4-game point streak, Contreras does. He's on the line with Niels Forcelis and Anthony Carafelli. But he had 4 points last weekend at Odessa, and overall a 4-game point streak. He's got a couple of assists against the Wranglers this season. Connor Brust, also a big weekend in Odessa last weekend where he got 4 points in those 2 games against the Jackalopes. He's also got 2 goals against the Amarillo Wranglers this season. Those both came the last time the Ice Rays were here in Amarillo. And the leading scorer for those Ice Rays, Hans Martin Uvandi, he is the leading scorer. He's got 30 points on the season, 22 assists, and 8 goals. He's scoreless in his last 3 here in his second season with the Corpus Christi Ice Rays, but he does lead the way with 30 points on the year. So those are a couple of players to be on the lookout for tonight on both sides. And, of course, the starting goaltenders, Connor McDonough, and you've got Lucas Malnott for the Corpus Christi Ice Rays. For Malnott, he's 4-14-1. He's lost his last 8 starts, but he's been playing very well as of late, just hasn't got the offensive support in front of him. So that's how the starting lineup shake out as the Wranglers look to string together back-to-back wins, a big 6-2 win Saturday night in Oklahoma, now taking on the Ice Rays that come in with an 11-34, 6-1 record. Amarillo 3-1 against the Ice Rays this year. Corpus Christi only 5 wins on the road this year. All right, so that's how things shake out for this Friday night showdown at the Budweiser Bullpen. Thanks so much for tuning along here on Facebook Live. We hope to see you out here at the Budweiser Bullpen as the puck is going to be dropped here in just a couple of moments. You're watching the Amarillo Wranglers. That'll be obviously here on Facebook Live, the pregame stream. But if you're not able to make it out tonight, always watch on Hockey TV or follow along on the Wranglers Radio Network powered by Mixler. Again, thank you so much for tuning in on this pregame show, and we'll see you here in just a few moments from the Budweiser Bullpen as the puck will drop between the Ice Rays and the Amarillo Wranglers.